Alrighty, so what is up everybody, Toothless here again, and a few days ago when they did the free prism shard, I was able to pull Vestele Riverthorn off of my free-to-play account, and dude, she has blown me away. I did not expect her to hit the way she does. And her ratings, I mean, she's got a 5 in Arena Offense, Defense, Campaign, Faction Wars, 4.9 in Hydra and Demon Lord, another 5 in Minotaur, which anyone could be a 5 in Minotaur, but 4.9 in Chimera, 4.9 Iron Twin, just everything across the board is 4.9 or 5 with the exception of a Fire Knight, which I'm kind of surprised that they didn't go ahead and give her a 4.9 out of 5 in Fire Knight because she brings counterattack on a double hit or A1, so it's a quad hit. But regardless, her kit is Raging River, attacks one enemy twice, before attacking has a 50% chance of removing all buffs from the target, has a 100% chance to steal all buffs instead if the skill is not used on the champion's turn, and this effect cannot be resisted by targets whose attack is equal to or lower than this champion. Also, will ignore 5% of the target's defense per buff on this champion. So if she's got 4 or 5 buffs, that's 25% ignore defense on an irresistible steal all buffs if she's counterattacking, and a 50-50 books up to 75% chance on a standard attack. And dude, it hits pretty good. Her A2, Erosive Force, attacks one enemy before attacking, puts a 50% increase attack and a 15% shatter on this champion for 2 turns, will ignore block damage and Stone Skin. All of Stone Skin, not like Onryo Ieyasu where it's like ignores 50% of Stone Skin or any of that. It just flat out ignores Stone Skin. And then grants an extra turn if this attack kills an enemy. If the target survives, she fills the turn meter of your entire team by 30%. And in case anyone is wondering what Shatter does, because I don't remember the exact details, I feel like they always put them at the very bottom. Increase this champion's ignore defense by 15%. So that 15% ignore defense stacks on top of the however many buffs she has percentage. You could get easily 30, 40, 50, if not 50% ignore defense. And then you mix it with Helm Smash, so she's ignored 100% of the defense. Pretty consistently. Or throw in some relics or berries, means Savage Gear, anything. And then finally on the A3, attacks all enemies before attacking, has a 75% chance of placing a 25% weaken on everybody for 2 turns, books up to 100%. This debuff cannot be resisted by targets whose attack is equal to or lower than this champion, will ignore a quarter of each target's defense, places an extra hit on enemies whose attack is equal to or lower than this champion, then puts an unkillable and a counter attack on this champion for 2 turns. Now it is on a 6-turn book down to 4-turn cooldown. I would like that to be on a 3-turn, but everything else in her kit, it makes up for it. And her passive, phenomenal. Student of the Glaciad has a 50% chance to deal 100% more damage against enemies whose attack is equal to or lower than this champion. So half of the time, as long as she has more attacks, she's dealing double damage. Also, this champion receives 30% less damage from enemies whose attack is equal to or lower than this champion, so she takes a third less damage as well. And a little fun fact here, I noticed that it says Student of the Glaciad. I wonder if like Glaciad Meltwater was like her teacher or professor. There's a couple of things in here like Meltwater Flood, Student of the Glaciad, Raging River, Erosive Force. Erosive Force doesn't really correlate to it, but regardless, I'm wondering if she was like a pupil of Glaciad Meltwater. I feel like she's better than Glaciad Meltwater, but I bet they would pair up very well together. Apologies for the segue there. She has a base attack of 1729, which is pretty crazy. She has slightly above average speed at 103, 63 on the crit damage. This is my free-to-play and we don't have the best gear on it, so what we're running is 5.2k attack. We only have 175 crit damage and 258 on the speed. Like I said, not the best stats, but it is enough that she's able to one-shot basically anyone in the arena. And we'll run a few arena fights here just to get warmed up and then we'll go into live arena. So you literally just pick a champion. We're gonna pick Wallmaster. He's gone, 164. And then everybody else is gone. Her A2 is booked. And I like her AI. Her AI will use the A2. It's like it knows if it can one-shot an enemy or not, because it'll use the A2 if she can one-shot the enemy. But I've noticed against these Death Knots, she opens with her A3 instead of the A2. So it seems like the AI is predicting whether or not she would kill the Death Knight in one hit or not, which is something you don't really see in champions. Like, that's some math that like you can't predict that. I mean, I don't know. She hits pretty hard against Death Knight as well. She's weak affinity to this whole team with the exception of Wukong, so may not be the best, but we'll try her out. We should have attacked Papillon since she ignores Stone Skin on the A2. I didn't even notice that. Can we still? We can stun him. Dude, that Papillon is tanky. Very tanky. When we do the fusion, like where we can pick a fusion, what are y'all going to be going for? I think I'm going to get Papillon. He probably won't be my first. I think Titus would be my first, but then I'm going to go for Papillon. And the reason for that, I wouldn't recommend everybody go for Papillon first, but I have a Lazarius and Teox and Donatello that I would like to mix Papillon into. And I feel like that would just be a really good team. Not to mention how much CC is on this team. Chamaria putting out fears and stuns. Arn can put out a stun if need be. Loki can block active skills. There's a lot of control in this team built into it. There's no reviver and not really a healer. Loki can only single target heal, but it's a pretty tanky team with the exception of a still. And there's a lot of CC. Wow, Arn just soloed that whole team, okay. Might need to turn it into a video about Arn. Arn. I don't know why I keep calling him Arn. But, one shot Trunda, one shot everybody else. Here's a team that's 100k higher than mine. One shot Alice. One shot everybody else. One shot Alice. One shot everybody else. One shot Monkey. One shot everybody else. One shot Hope. One shot everybody else. One-shot Armons. One-shot everybody else. Ooh, they'll outspeed me on that team. They outsped me on that one too, though. One-shot Arbiter. One-shot everybody else. Damn delay. Kill everybody else. One shot Alice. One shot everybody else. Like, it really is crazy how hard she is. Oh, that ain't good. I'll take that. And she does have a lord. Strike with the force of a raging river. Wash away all that is dead or unclean. Bring about the purity of the spring rebirth and slay the forces of decay. Honor that which is blue and green, cold and born anew, the monstra of Vestele Riverthorn. Vestele was an overconfident teen when she became lost on Mount Starblue. One early spring snow still coated the unforgiving rock, but the green shoots were emerging, and the first drops of the annual melt were winding away down the slopes. These details meant nothing to the freezing, starving Vestele. Tears ran down the elf's face as she huddled down, teeth chattering, shivering arms wrapped around goose-pimpled legs. Then he came. Glaciad. See, I told you. I knew there was something to do with Glaciad Meltwater. The Prince of the Thaw. With a tap of his staff to her shoulder, Glaciad gave Vestele just enough warmth and strength to escape the mountain. He said not a word to her, but Vestele was changed forever. She had been arrogant and headstrong, dismissive of the warnings and wisdoms of her elders, so confident in her master's blade work she taught herself invincible. This nearly killed her, and Vestele knew it. She became fascinated with Glaciad, her gratitude driving her to seek him out. It took her many years in which she continued honing her warrior skills to offer them to the Prince of the Thaw. They finally crossed paths in the beginning of springtime on the very mountain they had first met. There, Vestele pledged her sword to him. Glaciad neither accepted nor denied. He said nothing, continuing only to tap on the ground with his staff as he strolled, each delicate touch creating a tiny rivulet of meltwater. Vestele had expected a response, but was not deterred, so she followed him and did so for the whole spring, and Glaciad never said a word. At the end of the season, they came to a patch of the mist where Vestele had never been before. The trees were barren, brown and red, gnarled, barbed, and contorted into ugly, fearsome visages of thorns and teeth. The air smelled of burning and blood. The wind disappeared and fell darkness hung about the place. Vestele could feel it in rhythm. It was angry, fraught, and hungry and rampant. Corrupted, Glaciad said, his voice sounding like sticks striking rocks in a fast-flowing stream. With that, there was a rabid, echoing howling from the deeper in the corrupted woodland. Vestele drew her sword, spring blade, and raised it aloft. She was too young to have fought in the corruption when it arose, but she had never been tested against the mutated remnants that still haunted the regions of the Mistwood. The chimeric beasts that came for them were scorpions and jaguars and centipedes, combined with creatures with claws and fangs and stingers. Each was the size of a mountain ram. Vestele, an eager warrior always inclined to attack rather than defend, threw herself at them. The creatures were faster than anything she had fought before and preternaturally agile. They dodged every blow, skittering and leaping aside between trees or even burrowing below ground to avoid them popping up behind her. It took every measure of her focus, quick reactions, and skill just for her to stay alive. She never, ever landed a strike. Weird. Then Glacab stepped forth. He gestured with his staff to each beast in turn. Everyone was frozen solid. Then he stared at Vestele. She took this to be a sign to finish off their attackers, which she did, shattering them to pieces with the spring blade. Glacab told her that she had to learn to strike with the force of a raging river to represent a burst of water coming from the melting glacier. Vestele nodded. She became a greater warrior than she ever imagined as the years passed, as cold and as still as an ancient glacier, ready to fight with the fury and speed of a furious torrent at a moment's notice. In that time, she formed bonds with Estra Dreamsong and Grand Oak Podrick, and is now recognized as Spring's most capable defender, a warrior ready to defend every sapling as it emerged from the cold ground. In recognition of this, Estrid herself granted Vestele a crown resembling fresh roots, shoots, and a cloak bearing the image of a tree regrowing its leaves. That would be a cool team to put together. Estra Dreamsong, Grand Oak Podrick, Vestele, and Glacab Meltwater. Glacab Meltwater would give you the Veil and Rebuffs. Estrid would give you more weaken but increased attack and turn meter fill. And who is the last one there? Oh, Grand Oak Podrick, which would bring ally attack and whatever buffs she needed. I wish I had her on my main account, because I have those other 3 champions. Dude, that would be crazy. But anyways, back to her kit.